And it looked like Chennedy Carter has finally broken her silence about this Caitlin Clark situation. Chennedy Carter just jumped out the window and justified an assault on Caitlin Clark.
Looks like Chennedy Carter has finally spoken up about the whole Caitlin Clark incident. Shocking everyone, Carter basically tried to defend what many saw as an outright attack on Clark. With the WNBA season just around the corner, pretty much every notable free agent has landed somewhere except one, Chennedy Carter. Yep, the same Carter who delivered that infamous shoulder check to Caitlin Clark last summer.
Can you break down that situation that happened?
Yeah. So in basketball a little bit, there's things called talking, what you like to call smack or whatever everybody likes to call it.
Yeah.
Plays before things are said, that's a part of basketball.
While Clark is getting ready for her second year with her popularity through the roof, Carter's over here trying to explain herself on streaming platforms. She's claiming it was just basketball, just a tiny bump, but WNBA teams aren't buying what she's selling. Is this karma catching up to her? Is it fair? Or is Carter just being made an example of for how players should treat the league's new star? Let's dive into it.
Carter has always been kind of up against the fence when speaking about this Caitlin Clark situation. We remember when she first got asked about this during a press conference, she stated that she wasn't going to speak on Caitlin Clark. Now, we know months later, she still hasn't spoken on the whole situation. That is until today. Yes, Chennedy Carter finally broken her silence about the Caitlin Clark hip check.
We know Chennedy Carter has been dodging questions about the Caitlin Clark situation for months. Remember when she was first asked about it at a press conference? She flat out refused to talk about Clark. Now months later, she still hadn't addressed it until today. Yes, Chennedy Carter finally broke her silence about that Caitlin Clark hit. Remember that moment last June when Carter deliberately rammed into Clark? The incident that would end up defining Carter's career happened during what should have been just another regular game between the Chicago Sky and Indiana Fever.
So she was signed to the Chicago Sky with Teresa Weatherspoon, with Angel Reese, with Camila Cardoso, and, the rest of the folks. And then we get to the body check. This was originally ruled an away from the ball foul, but it was obviously a flagrant foul. It really upset a lot of people, which really escalated the issue. And it was really just poor sportsmanship on Kennedy's part.
One thing pushing Caitlin Clark, and it's another thing blindsiding her. Like, I don't think there's no justification for that. Like, to be honest, we can be honest here.
Let's look at exactly what happened. Step by step, after scoring a basket, Carter made a sharp turn across the court, not to get back on defense, but clearly heading straight for the unsuspecting Clark. There was zero basketball reason for taking that path. The replay shows Carter muttering something, then eyeing Clark before delivering a hard shoulder check that knocked the rookie to the floor. Anyone watching could see this contact was completely intentional.
A little girl wants to grow up and play in a league where you're targeted like that. How do you sit here and profess and demand that everyone take women's sports seriously when you can't even take it seriously enough to not act like a junior high queen on the court? It's stupid. That's so dumb. It looks like a soap opera.
She was playing for the Chicago Sky with Teresa Weatherspoon, Angel Reese, Camila Cardoso, and the rest of the team. And then we get to that body check. They initially called it an away from the ball foul, but it was clearly a flagrant. It upset tons of people, which really blew up the whole issue, and it was just terrible sportsmanship from Chennedy. What's really telling is how the refs first called it just a regular foul, something that happens dozens of times every game, but once they checked the footage, they immediately upgraded it to flagrant. The replays don't lie. This wasn't accidental contact during play. This was an off-ball, intentional hit delivered after a completed basketball action.
Atlanta Dream did suspend her in the middle of the sophomore season, basically saying she was a detriment to the team and the team culture. So then the Atlanta Dream decided to trade her to the Sparks, the Los Angeles.
Clark's response says a lot about her character. Despite being blindsided and knocked down, she simply got up without complaining, dusted herself off, and focused on the next play. No drama, no payback. Just a professional getting back to work. Meanwhile, commentators and fans were furious, recognizing that what they'd seen wasn't basketball. It was a deliberate attempt to intimidate or hurt another player. This wasn't Carter's first issue on the court either. Her history of explosive behavior became a major talking point after the Clark incident. In 2021, while playing for the Atlanta Dream, she was suspended indefinitely for what the team called conduct detrimental to the team after a heated argument that went way too far. This pattern of behavior had already raised serious concerns about her professionalism and ability to work within a team.
What's crazy about all of this, immediately after that push, this is what she said to the media.
Kennedy, on the play before bumping in with Caitlin, it seemed like she turned to you a little bit after the fever
I
score.
didn't answer no Caitlin Clark questions.
Did she say anything to you?
I don't know what she said.
What'd you say to her?
I didn't say anything.
The timing couldn't have been worse for Carter. The WNBA is experiencing an incredible growth period with viewership and attendance records being shattered, much of it driven by Clark's arrival. The league is rightfully protective of this momentum, emphasizing professionalism as it gets mainstream attention. In this environment, the Sky Forward's actions stood in stark contrast to the image the league is trying to build. What's wild about all this? Right after that push, here's what she told the media.
Kennedy Carter wasn't going to make a WNBA roster. And as it sit, April 20th, training camps start for teams in 7 days. Training camp for a majority of the WNBA start April the 27th. Kennedy Carter is not on any WNBA roster. Want to know why? Because it's Kennedy Carter's fault she's not on any WNBA rosters.
Carter would later try to explain away what millions saw with their own eyes, but the damage was already done. The shoulder check wasn't just a simple foul or even just a bad moment. It became a career-defining mistake that transformed her from a player with serious potential into someone teams actively avoid. Now she's breaking her silence. We'll break it down in a bit. Basketball is physical, competitive, and intense, but there are unwritten rules that separate tough play from unnecessary aggression. Carter's actions crossed that line in dramatic fashion, and the WNBA's response shows exactly where the league stands on protecting its players and its image.
I think a play before, maybe I was elbowed. Okay, that happens. Think the next play down, maybe something was said, and then maybe there was like a little clip of somebody like yelling in my face. And then we go down the court, then I hit like a little bucket, you feel me? Come down, hit like a little nice little mid-range pull-up. And then I just like, just give her like a little, like, I'm here. Like, I don't think it was, what's crazy? Me and my brother went back and watched, and we seen a lot of clips in the NBA of guys getting like pushing LeBron. Like, I think it was Jeff Teague or somebody who like pushed LeBron out of bounds, like said, man, I was mad because like we couldn't stop him.
Those unwritten boundaries Carter crossed have left her career hanging by a thread, and now she's scrambling to change the narrative before it's too late. Just days ago, with training camp approaching and still no contract in sight, she sat down for an interview with streamer Neon that has basketball fans everywhere completely stunned. Carter's attempt to explain away what millions witnessed firsthand is absolutely mind-blowing. In the interview, she casually dismissed the deliberate shoulder check as merely trash talk and giving Clark a little "I'm here" energy. You know what's really telling? The huge difference between this relaxed description and the forceful impact that sent Clark tumbling to the floor. The footage doesn't lie. There was nothing small or routine about that contact.
She did. She stopped and went through. Like, oh. Like, that is not... We watched the clip. There is no way that we're letting this happen. Like, saying that it was nothing. Like this is not just a tap.
What makes this revisionist history even more obvious is Carter's sudden claim that she may have been elbowed before the play. This convenient new detail, noticeably missing from any previous statements, has been completely disproven by video evidence. The footage shows zero provocation whatsoever, making this late justification ring hollow even to casual viewers. Social media wasted no time calling out the obvious damage control attempt. One fan's comment perfectly captured the collective eye roll. "You all seriously don't believe her, do you?" This reaction wasn't isolated. Basketball communities across platforms responded with similar skepticism to what many view as a desperate attempt at image rehabilitation.
So I'm just like, it's like one of those things, like, it happens in basketball. I know people try to say, oh, it's not one of those things.
It's not a personal thing. It's a competitive thing.
It happens in basketball, and Like it's just one of those things. But like, yeah, it's kind of what happened. Then it spiraled out of control.
And then the media takes whatever narrative they want to
Do
put
you
out.
watch every single game to see if you can find any deflects in my game? And like, it's really nothing that you probably could say too much about. So then you have trolls, and that's why I said they're gonna be around regardless. But yeah, it was just like a nice little like tap, like I'm here, not to like harm you or anything. You know, if you want to push somebody, you're gonna like full force.
The timing couldn't be more obvious. With the 2025 training camp fast approaching and Carter still unsigned, this interview looks less like setting the record straight and more like an emergency PR campaign. After months of silence about the incident, Carter suddenly feels the need to offer her perspective just as teams are finalizing their rosters. The connection isn't exactly subtle. Perhaps the most revealing part of Carter's rehabilitation tour is her complete flip-flop on Clark's abilities. Remember when she questioned what Clark brings to the table besides three-point shooting? That dismissive attitude has magically transformed into praise, with Carter now referring to the Fever star as a great player and even comparing her to LeBron James. This dramatic shift suggests less of a genuine change of heart and more of a calculated strategy to appear reasonable and remorseful without actually accepting responsibility.
This is crazy, and this changes everything, because all this time, we've been waiting on Chennedy Carter to take responsibility for what she did to Caitlin Clark. It shows me, I ain't even got to watch all this footage right here, but I am going to look at it. But it's showing me right now that she still is not taking responsibility for her actions. She's finna blame this whole situation on Caitlin Clark supposedly talking smack to her.
Basketball analysts have pointed out how Carter's explanation fundamentally misrepresents normal physicality in professional basketball. One analyst got straight to the point. Carter's actions weren't just unsportsmanlike. They represented a threat to the league's brightest star and it's future. There's a world of difference between competitive physical play and deliberately targeting another player after the whistle.
I mean, that happens, man. Like, it's one of those things. I'm a great player. She's a great player. It looks a certain way. Everybody's going to have their views on it. But my personal view is, I don't have anything against her. She's a great player, and so am I. And I've got buckets all that season. You know what I'm saying? So just one of those things that, I love it, though. They think I hate it. I love it. I love when it gets riled up and juicy like that.
You feed off of like what people say and shit, and it makes you more motivated.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm telling you. Oh, yeah, I love the hate. I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What Carter still doesn't seem to understand is that her problem isn't just the incident itself, it's her continued inability to take genuine responsibility. By downplaying the seriousness of her actions and trying to introduce made-up provocations, she's reinforcing the exact concerns that have made teams hesitant to sign her. The interview has accomplished the opposite of what it was probably meant to do. Instead of fixing her image, it has further cemented the perception that Carter struggles with accountability and might not be a reliable teammate. Talent has never been Carter's issue. She's proven she can score at the highest level, but talent alone isn't enough when questions about character and team chemistry are this big.
This is a bad look, bro. This is her pretty much begging for a team to pick her up. Oh, it's just part of basketball. That's not part of basketball, bro. What you did to Caitlin Clark, you can't justify that assault.
Basketball is ultimately a team sport built on trust. When a player shows they're willing to target a star opponent with a non-basketball play and then refuse to take responsibility for it months later, it raises major red flags about how they'll function within a team environment. Carter's attempt to reframe the story has only emphasized why she remains unsigned while players with less raw talent have secure roster spots. Her actions prove that no team is willing to take a chance on her.
Chennedy Carter just jumped out the window and justified an assault on Caitlin Clark.
The basketball world operates on an unwritten code that separates tough competitors from problematic teammates. And right now, Carter is experiencing something almost unprecedented in WNBA history. In a league constantly searching for offensive firepower, a player who averaged 17.5 points per game last season remains completely unsigned with training camps opening in just days. This speaks volumes about how front offices truly view her actions.
Her actions prove that no team is willing to bet their luck on her. Now, granted, she's a dominant scorer, excellent basketball player in certain aspects of the game, but her behavior on and off the court is making it look real shady for her to get picked up by a team.
What's particularly telling is the Chicago Sky's decision to not even offer Carter a qualifying contract. Think about that for a second. They let their leading scorer walk away without trying to keep her or get anything in return. In professional basketball, teams simply don't allow top offensive talents to leave unless there are serious underlying issues that outweigh their on-court production.
And there has not been a peep about anywhere that she could be landing in this free agency. So a lot of people, including myself, are wondering, is she worth the risk now?
When asked about the decision, Chicago Sky GM Jeff Pagliuca carefully worded his response, saying that changes to the team's staff and roster affected Carter's fit, framing the move as giving her the best opportunity as a free agent. This calculated corporate talk barely hides the real story. Behind closed doors, reports suggest significant locker room tension and concerns that Carter's presence was creating an environment harmful to team unity.
I mean, she can score. Score with the lights out. I mean, she's pure offense, a pure shooting guard, scoring guard, an instant offense. But if you're a team, do you really want her on the team? I wouldn't.
The most damning assessment comes from an anonymous WNBA executive who didn't hold back. They wouldn't touch her with a 10-foot pole. This brutal honesty reveals just how toxic Carter's reputation has become throughout the league. When executives are willing to make such statements, even anonymously, it signals a player has gone from being merely controversial to becoming radioactive.
Hey, good luck. Good luck. I don't know who's going to take her. I don't know what teams are going to take her. No, I don't think she's going to the Indiana Fever. I mean, yeah, bring her in after what happened. I don't think so.
These concerns go beyond just one incident with Clark. Teams are worried about Carter's overall impact on their ability to attract and keep other free agents. In today's WNBA, where player movement and roster building are increasingly sophisticated, no team wants to risk signing a player who might drive away other talent or disrupt carefully built team chemistry. What makes this situation particularly striking is that the WNBA is experiencing unprecedented growth and attention. With new broadcasting deals, increased corporate sponsorships, and exploding viewership, the league is intensely focused on capitalizing on this momentum. Reports suggest the WNBA is considering implementing stricter rules for player conduct, specifically in response to incidents like Carter's flagrant foul. The message is clear. The league will protect its image and its stars during this critical growth period.
Come on. Cheer for your teammates, be a part of this team, and then ensues an altercation between the two where Chennedy Carter was sent to the locker room mid-game, of which afterwards, after the game, this is what has been reported. I guess Chennedy Carter wanted to fight Courtney Williams, like physically fight Courtney Williams, who backed away from this and was like, no way. So there was no actual physical altercation that happened.
Come on, cheer for your teammates, be a part of this team. And then ensues an altercation between the two where Chennedy Carter was sent to the locker room mid-game, after which this is what has been reported. I guess Chennedy Carter wanted to fight Courtney Williams, like physically fight Courtney Williams, who backed away from this and was like, no way. So there was no actual physical altercation that happened.
To an extent, like you can criticize, especially on the court, when somebody 100% cheap shots your favorite player. Like, there's a level of going at, but we all know with Chennedy Carter, it went way too far. Like, we can be honest here, it did go way too far with Chennedy.
Carter's situation differs significantly from other players who've received second chances after misconduct. The combination of factors working against her is unique. The high-profile victim, the lack of genuine accountability, the repeated pattern of behavior dating back to her suspension from the Atlanta Dream, and the timing amid the league's expansion. While some players have overcome similar issues, they typically showed sincere regret and a willingness to change. The most telling aspect of Carter's situation isn't the absence of a contract, it's the complete silence from all 12 franchises, not a workout invitation, not a training camp opportunity, not even rumors of interest. This collective judgment represents something far more significant than punishment for a single flagrant foul. It's a league-wide verdict on her character and professionalism. Basketball executives understand that talent alone doesn't win championships. Team dynamics, locker room culture, and player relationships matter enormously. enormously in a sport where 5 people must function as a cohesive unit. Carter's situation demonstrates how quickly a promising career can fall apart when a player develops a reputation for putting personal vendettas above team success. As the WNBA prepares for what promises to be its most watched season ever, the contrast between its brightest star and its most notable absence couldn't be more striking. While Clark's star power fuels this unprecedented growth, Carter's absence serves as a powerful reminder that talent alone isn't enough. The league has made its priorities crystal clear, protecting the professionals who embody its values and vision for the future, even if it means leaving scoring talent on the sidelines. Let us know in the comments below if you believe Chennedy deserves not being on a team. Like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss out. Click the video on the screen and we will see you in the next one.